Alright, hello everybody. So I'm actually sitting out on my new front porch with my feet up on the wall. For those of you that aren't already aware, I recently bought a house in South St. Louis that I've been busy rehabbing for about the last month and a half. Some of it I'm doing myself, other parts I'm hiring out. Long story as to how this came to be, but the short version is that I'm now a homeowner, and I've been doing a lot of work. It's been keeping me very busy. My house has popped up on Diesel Deuce's channel, as well as a few others, STL Elevators. And anyway, I've been getting a lot of requests for just like a concise tour of what this place looks like. So, disclaimer, the rehab is not done. I'm going to be showing you the progress that I've made here in the first month and a half, which I'm pretty proud of. Still a long way to go, but it's a really nice place. So we are in South St. Louis City. This house actually went up in 1926. Went through a few pretty rough owners and was not in the best shape when I took it over. So, we'll start here in my little city front yard. I actually planted these two weeping cherries out here. I've done a lot of work to get the grass to come back. I actually just finished watering it. The previous owner left me with two pretty decent garden beds out here. For the moment, I'm so busy with other things, I'm not really getting too ambitious with the gardening. So I just planted a couple of these little red shrubs that would sort of blend in. Thought it kind of went well with the house, you know, being red brick. Get a view from down here on the street. You can see the steps and concrete are all in good shape. These railings were actually here when I moved in. It was nice that somebody else took the time to redo that. But yeah, this is it from the front. That roof that you see on there, I had to put on. The roof that was on there originally was so bad that I had trouble actually getting insurance coverage on the house. So, all new shingles, all new gutters. The house still needs to be painted, and the stucco needs to be patched. Like, we had the one section there, I just had the roofer stick some metal underneath, just so it would be watertight for the moment. It's a project for a later date. But the place is structurally sound. So I kept the existing downspouts, but we put on new 6-inch gutters that actually are sloped correctly. It's a big improvement. We'll get a better look at the front porch here, too. So this roof over the front porch is actually not original to the house. It was put on about 15 years ago, as best I can tell, via the permits. But it creates a really nice space out here. It's really pleasant to sit. You get a nice breeze, and because the house sits up kind of high, you get a nice view, too. We'll go around and take a look at the backyard. See, we had to have the electric company out and raise the clearance on this service drop to the house, just because the original one was so low you could actually reach it from the ground. Obviously not the most safe. The tuck pointing is all in really nice shape, though. As I said, it was a solid house. It just needed quite a bit of TLC. This gate actually came with the place. Custom made by the previous owner. Actually pretty nice. These electric cords are a little jerry-rigged, but he actually ran them out this window down here to power these little lights that run around the flower beds. I just got finished watering back here, which is why everything is so wet. These shrubs came with the place. Most of the rest of this garden was just full of weeds that I had to rip out and spray and things. So there are a couple flowers that came back up. So I think at some point in history, this was well cared for back here. Unfortunately, it was not when I took the place over, but I like the way that he built all these garden beds. And you can even see down here, like, he redid the back deck area here. This is all new concrete, and built this really nice little retaining wall. I planted this tree as well. Hopefully get some shade back here. That's just a maple. And I tripped over my sprinkler. So there's a story. So the reason that this is all dug out here with gravel, the previous owner actually put an addition on the side of this shed, which was like dilapidated and falling over. It also took up way too much of the backyard. So I ripped the shed down back when I had a construction dumpster here. And the plan eventually is to just take the dirt that he shoveled out back here and fill this back in, get rid of this garden bed, and just level it out with the rest of the backyard, so it'll look a little nicer and bigger. Unfortunately, this back here is like a jungle, so I have to clear all this out and shovel all this dirt back. It's not going to be a fun job. And you can see I already killed some of the overgrowth back here, just weed killer, to make it a little bit easier to remove. I found all these extra pavers just buried back here, so keeping those just in case I need them. So he built a nice little gravel parking pad back here. I'm hanging on to that. You can see the dumpster guy kind of messed up the gravel a little bit, but that's an easy fix. Haven't quite figured out what to do with all this back here yet, where it isn't level. Thankfully, he gave me a pretty decent fence. Not perfect, but it's okay. There's a view of the back of the house here. Some new gates for the parking pad. So if you want to come back here and use it, you can. In my back alleyway here, I killed most of this overgrowth, still working on it a little bit. See, this is where the dumpster and everything is. We'll take a look inside my shed, too. The shed is sitting on the foundation of what I assume was a one-car garage at some point. I'm guessing the garage has gotten really bad shape, so one of the previous owners took it down and added the shed. It needs a coat of paint, but other than that, this thing is actually in okay shape, believe it or not. Whew, it's about 100 degrees in here. There's no electric out here, so there's no light that I could turn on, but you can see, like, it's actually insulated, vented, so it's in pretty good shape. It is, for the most part, watertight, so I just put some gardening tools and my lawnmower and things in here for now. Gonna clean this up more at a later date. But for now, it's serving the purpose pretty well. Painting this is probably going to be a fall project when it cools down a little bit, because there's still so much left to do inside. Alright, I'm actually going to take you in through the back door here. First off, I did have to replace the entire HVAC system in this house, so this is a brand new Amana 15 SEER system. Nice and quiet, it's actually running now and you can barely hear it. This back door is going to be replaced here in a couple of weeks. It's not in the best shape, and also the doggy door is not exactly weather tight or that safe. So, when you come into the back here, you end up in this little hallway with a nice hole in the wall that I still need to patch. There's a half bathroom up there, but before we get upstairs, I'm going to take you on a little tour of the most interesting basement that came with this house. So these stairs, we actually had to rebuild. The original ones were just like totally rotted out, uneven and unsafe. This is one of the first things, actually the first thing I did before moving in, was replace these stairs just so we could get down and work here without like tripping and falling to the stairs, so on. It's a little messy down here now. There's still a lot of projects going on. You could see the previous owner dropped the floor down by about 6 inches. I think the intention was to finish this room, but it just never came to be. The nice part is, a lot of these city homes have really low basement clearances, and I could actually walk down here thanks to this little modification without bumping my head. The interior HVAC here was also replaced. So this is just an electric heat pump. The gas service in this home, for whatever reason, was cut out by the previous owner, and I didn't want to spend the money to put it back in. I live in a climate where you can get by on electric heat pretty easily, so it just wasn't worth the cost of trying to get this working again. All the ductwork, not all of it, but the majority was also replaced because it was in really bad shape. It looked like it had been down here for a very long time and it leaked everywhere, so this is all nice and new. The 2.5 ton system. Basically all we kept were a couple sections of the supply and then this return. I got a spare filter sitting there. But yeah, it's been working real well. It's really hot outside and it's keeping the whole place, even upstairs, nice and cool. So, before I loop around to the front, the most interesting part down here, this is actually under the front porch. The previous owner added in a really nice workbench back here. It's all built in, there's plenty of room for tool storage. This has certainly come in handy. Nice window you can open up there. And then there's the interesting part over here that I'm working on tearing out. So, on YouTube, I'm not going to say what was happening in this little room, but suffice it to say, I'm sure he was growing something down here. So I'm going to actually get to it from this side. So, this was sheetrock that's already been ripped out. I haven't taken the framing out yet. And then there was this thermal insulated door. And then on the inside, this was also all insulated and sheetrock. That window was covered up. This is the main reason I'm tearing this thing out, just so I can get another window down here. So we still have to take out all the rest of this like styrofoam insulation that he put in, as well as removing the rest of the electric and getting all this framing out. But it's going to open the basement up pretty nicely once this is gone. You could see he had irrigation coming in here, and actually like there was this whole sophisticated climate control system that he had hooked up. I kept the controller kind of as a souvenir. And then there was so much electric going in here. Like all this over here, all these outlets must have just been for the lights that he was using to grow things in there. So yeah, this is all going to be gone pretty soon. He also had this ridiculous hot tub that was just sitting down here, which I don't know why you'd want to sit in the tub in the middle of the basement, so it was really gross. I took it out. Not sure what I'm going to do with the hole yet, but the tub is gone. Eventually I'm going to set out a little workup room over here too. It's a nice basement, really, despite like all this stuff I've had to do down here. There's tons of windows, it's nice and bright. It's really pretty pleasant, especially for a basement in an older home. Got the laundry hookups over here on this little platform, the washer and dryer. Plus, they left me a nice little shelf up there, too. The electric panel was updated to 200 amps in 2012 before I moved in. Unfortunately, it looks like it was an in-house job for the most part, but I got an electrician in and everything is up to code now. The one thing that drives me crazy, it's awesome that the previous owner put a sump pump in. It keeps the basement bone dry. It sucks that he chose to put it directly underneath the electric panel. So if you want to work on this panel, you basically have to stand here with like 1 foot on either side while you're working in here. Couldn't get anything too right. And another thing that the previous owner did in 2012 when this electric panel was put in fact, it's probably the reason he put it in, he added a tankless water heater. So you have unlimited hot water in this house, which is pretty cool. And this is the like inverter thing for those lights that are in the backyard. So the switch is upstairs, it runs down to this, and those two cables run out to the backyard and power the lights. So yeah, that's the basement. Let's take a look at the first floor. So we'll climb up my new stairs around here. And then this was not a bathroom when the house was built. It appears that sometime in the 90s somebody took what was a pantry and made it into a half bath. It's tight, but believe it or not, this is actually done to code, and it's nice having a bathroom on the first floor. It could use a little cosmetic remodel, but that's again a project that I'm going to do down the road. I put in some decorative LED lights in here just to make it look a little better for the time being. The plumbing in here is actually all decent. So yeah, it's small, but it's nice to have a half bath down here. Then one of my biggest personal projects was redoing this kitchen. So I repainted all the boxes and the doors with a latex primer, and then I used a white chalk paint for the final coat to give it that nice matte look. Replaced the hardware, and all the appliances are new as well, except for the fridge, which was okay enough that I left it. The countertops are the original laminate countertops, but I used a paint kit where basically you have a couple different sponges that you use to get this sort of, faux granite look. So it saved me a lot of money doing it that way, and it made the kitchen look a lot better. The backsplash was decent, so I kept that, and the floor was actually pretty good too, so I kept that as well. Grabbed a new light from IKEA, and yeah, brightened the whole thing up, and it looks a lot better. I even added these under cabinet lights that you activate just by waving your hand, so there's even more light with those. Plus I did the new, over-the-range microwave. I even put an induction cooktop in here, which is a pretty cool technology. If you're stuck with electric, it's by far the best way to go. So yeah, that's the kitchen. It was quite a job. Took a long time to get this done. Then there's my messy dining room with an antique wood table that my mom just has sitting in her basement. So I went ahead and refinished the top of it, and I thought it blended in nicely. with this room, even with that clock up there. And you can see we got our original stained glass from the 20s. I put new blinds on every single window in the house except for the 2 bedrooms. Makes the place look a lot nicer, a lot more open. Almost all the windows except for that one for some reason were replaced by one of the previous owners. So these are thermal vinyl windows. Pretty decent ones too, which helps a lot on utilities. And you can see we got the front porch out there. Through here you have the living room. It's a nice open floor plan too. So I added my little like home theater setup that I've had in my last couple apartments, but a more permanent installation. So I've got the screen mounted above the non-functional fireplace down here, which you can't see because my big vanity for the master bath is still sitting down here. I replaced these lights because the old ones were like super ugly. And got my projector mounted to the ceiling. I had to put all the surround sound on the back wall, which I'm not crazy about, but there was just no real easy way to run the speaker wire up to the front, at least for now. But I painted all the wire mold because he left me some spare paint in the basement. I also added in, when we did the HVAC, a smart thermostat. It's the Sensi model, so you can add schedules and control it from an app on your phone anywhere. So if you're traveling and you want to turn the AC on before you get back home, with this system you can do that. It's pretty nice. And you can see the front door over there is also on my list of things to replace. I set up my office over here. I added blinds even to the stained glass in this room, just so if you want to use the projector and do like the true movie theater experience, you could shut out all the light. But for the most part, these stay open. And this door is not the greatest. I mean, you can see especially on this side. So rather than just repainting it, I'm actually going to put in a new vinyl door with like an upper third window to let some more light in. I think that'll be a lot better. Another one of these projects that I'm hoping to get done in the next month or two. But it's been crazy, which you'll see upstairs. And that's where we're going next. So it's an L-shaped staircase, just like in the basement. This sits right on top of it. Got another window that I put a new blind on here. I also got another one of those same matching lights. That was not fun to get installed in that spot up there. And the previous owner had like a 300-watt light bulb in the old fixture that melted the shade. And then he had the whole thing secured to the ceiling with a single screw. So it's a miracle that thing didn't burn the house down or fall on someone's head. But it's fixed now. You can see we got the hardwood up here, just like downstairs. There's 2 bedrooms. Got the master on this side, which is a little messy because I have to like switch rooms every night with all this construction. And then I got the second bedroom in here with some linen sitting on it. Before we take a detailed look at that, we're going to take a look at my second bathroom. This was a total gut remodel. I'll throw in some before photos here. This thing was super dingy. Not functional at all. It had this crazy shower where you could barely open up the door. It just didn't utilize the limited space well at all. So I ripped all that out and did some tile work on the back wall and just put like a normal cheap bathtub in. This was a pretty inexpensive way to redo the bathroom. It was very labor intensive. I had to hire some of it out. Like I'm not very good at tiling, so I hired out the tiling. The rest of this I pretty much tackled on my own. You can see I did the, they call it like the Schluter, the stainless steel edges on everything to give it more of a clean look. This may look like it's just a glass partition. It's actually a door. It's an idea that one of the contractors had. So this can swing open, you can get in, close it, but it still gives it a nice clean look and it fits this crazy ceiling well. Built a box on the back to make it fit a little better. And then of course I added in this little box up here, decorative, where you can stick your soap and shampoo. So the plumbing, everything in here, this is all brand new as of about a week ago. So huge improvement over what this was originally. So this is just about wrapped up and finished. Unfortunately, we found out this toilet leaks, so the plan is to actually take the one from the master and put it in here, and then add a new one to the master one. So yeah, that's the second bathroom. You can see then we have a little vestibule here at the top of the stairs. We'll take a quick look here at the second bedroom, which is pretty well pieced together. I just don't have the wall artwork and things up yet. It's a small bedroom. It's just enough room for queen-size bed and a couple nightstands. Got the bureau up here. Closet door is a little screwed up. Another thing on my list of things to fix. But it's a nice big window back here. I wish there was a way to lay out the furniture where I didn't have to put stuff in front of the window, but because the clearance in this room isn't that big, it's pretty much the only way I could do it. You can see it's a nice view out here. One thing that's nice about this street is that you're actually looking into backyards on the other side. It's very peaceful for an urban lot. Ceiling needs a little bit of help. But overall, this room isn't bad. This is pretty low on my list of things that need to be done. And one thing that's nice that one of the previous owners did when they switched around the floor plan up here, they added in these gigantic closets, which I'm just storing some bedding up on the top now, but there's all this built-in shelving, and it runs all the way to the exterior wall back there. So there's one of these in each bedroom. Took away a little bit of the space, but I think it was worth it. So yeah. Then we'll look at the master, which... The bedroom portion, not bad at all. Again, the setup is a little bit awkward. That's pretty much the only way I could put the bed and make this work. I actually stole that light fixture from the kitchen and put it up here because it was a decent light. It was just wrong for the kitchen. I've got that same closet that I showed you in the second bedroom in here, though this one is full of all my stuff, so not quite as easy to show. Got the same view. And then this bedroom, which is kind of rare in the city, actually has an ensuite bathroom. Get ready for this. So I've actually ended up hiring this one out in its entirety because this is just too much for me. My handyman skills only take me so far. This one was just flat out ridiculous. So originally in this nook over here, there was like this gigantic bathtub, which didn't fit well. It looked really silly. And there was this really sloppy tile work. It was really awkward getting in and out. The plumbing wasn't any good. So I figured let's just start over and build a big like stand-up shower in here, which would use this space so much better because there is a lot of space here. You can do something pretty luxurious. But when we started tearing it apart, it was like 10 times worse than I would have imagined. The walls were just full of all this random garbage that somebody left inside. And you could see the plumbing in here is just beyond screwed up. I mean, you could see we come upstairs. First of all, there's an outlet, which who knows? Maybe they were planning on doing a jacuzzi or something. We come up here with copper, then switch to the wrong type of PVC, wrap around up there for some odd reason, and then when it comes to here, we switch back to some random galvanized pipe that he must have just found, and then the stainless. So we switch materials 4 times from the basement to the shower, and this plumbing, it's just wrong in every possible way. Plus, I mean, he used like all this spray foam to waterproof it, including the rubber spray. It's not how you're supposed to do it. Shock surprise, it leaked. This subfloor is just completely messed up, so we have to take this room all the way down to the joists and rebuild it, essentially. Then this sheetrock was in such bad shape that we figured, you know, let's just tear it all out and basically start over. So this is the first wall that we've taken down. You can see this is actually how they vented the bathroom fan downstairs. They just used some semi-flex duct and went all the way up to the attic, which, okay. But if you're going to do that, at least tighten it up. There's actually, it's disconnected, but there's some original knob and tube in here that you can see. So that's 1920s electric wiring at its greatest. The light wasn't even centered above the sink, so this needs to move. We're going to add in some can lights because it's sort of just like the other bathroom. It was kind of a cave in here. And then this part of the floor, so it was tile laid on top of old tile. So yeah, I mean, there was just no saving that. So we're going to rip this out down to the joists too. And then we got this section back here with a raised hardwood. And this hardwood was just in bad shape, so I'm going to tear all this out too. We're going to see what's underneath it. And if it's possible to eliminate the step up, we will. If there's a reason that there's a step up, we're just going to make a little step with tile and go all the way to the back. Keeping the window, though. But yeah, this bathroom is just a hot mess. Pretty much everything in here has to go. And eventually the plan for the shower is to actually do this kind of tile, like the 12 by 18 on the walls, and then we're going to use kind of a matching, you know, these sheets of tile down on the ground. But in order to get this slope correctly, we have to, you know, redo the subfloor and put in cement and then make sure that it's all sloped the right way. And also, we're going to try not to waterproof with sheets of plastic with holes in them. Facepalm. So yeah, it's been a job. The place is coming out real nice, but it's been more work than I even thought it was going to be originally. So once this master is done and I get some more of these projects done, I'll make another update video, but I certainly hope you enjoyed this one. Surprised there was so much interest, but definitely happy to show you guys around. But yeah, the end result in there is going to look quite a bit like this, actually. Minus the hardwood. But yeah, really hope you enjoyed this video, and that is it.